Welcome back. We're back on the Volvo. Today we're trying to change the alternator pulley. Because the weather is reasonable, so it's not too cold. You're gonna take the wheel off. Loosen the nuts already. Just need to find where the chuck points are after that car. I have no idea. And then just chuck it up, and there's a cover behind the wheel where you can get the tensioners. I'll show that in a minute. Okay, let's take the wheel off. These belts look pretty old. I think they've never been changed. We'll see. Let's get it off. I need to find some Torx here. So you need a Torx T50, and that's how the tensioner sits down here. Make sure you got enough room, otherwise you're not gonna get the wrench out. The belt, well, I don't know. It's got a few miles. The problem is that this belt is actually driving the aircon, and the aircon pulley is driving the alternator. So if one of the belts fail, you got an alternate problem. So now it's time to find the other tensioner, which I don't know where it is, but we're gonna find it. It'll be somewhere up there. It must be. It's up there. I don't know if it's visible. You can see that little wheel there. That's the other tensioner. So crank to aircon and then aircon to alternator. I don't know where they did it, but I think it's better than on the V70s, where they have a double-sided belt, which is quite difficult to obtain and quite expensive as well. Yeah, you can get them from Volvo, but they're expensive. So the tensioner is down here. It's pretty tight. The only reason why I need to take everything off is because I need to change the pulley, and I have not enough room to get the tools there. So the idea is taking all the garbage out here, probably pull the oil filter, and then just tilt the alternator over and do it in situ, so I don't need to take it completely out. We'll find out. We'll get there slowly. So we figured out how to get this bloody splash guard out. That's very likely the tensioner release. So we need to turn that clockwise. I think it's a T50 as well. So we got them out, and just checking the tensioner pulleys, and they're really quiet, which is good. So aircon pulley sounds good as well. Okay. There's a lot of some rusty stuff here from the aircon pulley, from the aircon clutch. This is the level sensor for the headlights, because it's got HIDs. So a level sensor is required. It just checks the suspension travel, and if you change the wishbones, there are xenon and non-xenon wishbones. The only difference is that bracket which holds that rod here, and there's a similar one on the back which was out. It's a plastic rod, and that's the reason why my headlights didn't level anymore. So that's fixed. Okay, let's see what we can do with that alternator. So we got it loose. So we need to take the pipe off. We take this one out. We take the oil filter out, and if we're lucky, we can fiddle it out. There's one bolt at the top and two bolts at the bottom. Well, lovely. Laborious, but it's a big engine in a small car. That's what we have. Shows quite a bit of corrosion here. We need to get the plug out at the bottom, this one here, and then the 3 bolts, one here, 2 down there. I think it's 12 millimeters. And then we either tilt it round or try to fiddle it out. I'd like to take it out, have a quick look at it, because it looks a bit filthy. Alright, let's try that. Getting the bolts out is a real pain. They're actually 10 millimeters. This type of screw. It's actually an M8 screw, but with a 10 millimeter head. So the rear one is okay-ish. The front one is a bit of a challenge, because they're holding they're holding the aircon as well, so yeah, that's how you're gonna get there. It's a real pain. Well, we get there. We got them out, and obviously the front one was the worst one. Lots of dissimilar metal corrosion here, because you can see there's a bit of salt and stuff. I don't know what it is. It was really hard work. I had to use a wrench with which I can bend. Oh, so next challenge is twisting the thing around. Probably get it out. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Get the cable out of the way. I can't get the plug out. I need to see to the plug, so I need to turn it around a little bit. It's got a funny latch. Normally it's you just push it in and pull it out, but it looks like it's being damaged previously, so we'll see. We'll get it out. Alright, there's no way to get that alternator out without disconnecting all the hoses here, and I don't want that, because then I need to drain the coolant, which I don't want to do. So what we're going to do is we turn it around and then we just pop the cap. You can see it's binding. It doesn't freewheel. I don't know if it's visible. You can see it's not freewheeling. The rotor is always turning, and so it's stiff. Okay, so let's take it off. Hopefully it works. So get the tools and get it loose. Tightening torque is somewhere between 85 and 90, that's what they say. I couldn't find any particular one for Volvo, but that's what it is. Okay, let's get the tools and get it off. It came out really stiff here. Don't forget, the inner one has to be turned clockwise because the pulley screws off with this. So it should come off now. No, it doesn't. So you turn the alternator clockwise and hold the pulley, and then the whole thing should come off. It was really hard to get it out. Get the wrench out here. There you go. Oh, but look at that. It's pretty rusty. So I wonder what make that is. It's an inner, but it's completely stiff. Look at that. Can't turn it. Let's clean it. So, just touch the camera here. Let's clean it, put a new one on, and we should be good to go. The problem is my torque wrench doesn't go anti-clockwise, so we need to guess. Anyway, let's clean it, put the new one on, and put it back together. That's the hardest part. Well, what I think what happened is it came loose and then it tightened itself again, because that's how it feels. So this is the new one. It's not an inner. So we cleaned it, and I just double checked the size, but I think it's the same size. It's the same. Okay. It looks the same, so it should be fine. And then just screw it on. Take the tool and tighten it up. I need to find a torque wrench. The problem is I cannot turn the shaft anti-clockwise, because if you hold the outer with a spanner, you need to turn anti-clockwise, and my torque wrench only goes clockwise. That's the problem. Alright, what I think what happened is, because it was stiff, it came loose and tightened itself. That's what's happening with these things. Many years ago I lost one actually on the motorway with an Audi, and I heard a clonk, charge light came on, and looked into the engine bay, and I thought, okay, lost the belt, but then I realized there was no pulley on the alternator left, so, and I don't want to get there anymore. Okay, let's tighten it up, put the cap on, make sure nothing is binding or so, and put everything back together. So now you can see, if you look at the rotor, I can turn it backwards and it's slipping. That's what it's supposed to do. So put the cap on. Cap is important. Some of these caps are only one-time use, so make sure everything is tight before you put the cap on, because that prevents it from getting some shit into it. Okay, let's grease the bolts and put the alternator back. I think the best idea is actually putting the top bolt first and then try to figure out the bottom ones. So the two long ones go to the bottom and the shorter ones go to the top. It comes from here, they're all 10 millimeters. So yeah, it's just a matter of getting them fitted in, because it's actually a task. Well, the whole thing is made for small hands. I got a 1/4 inch ratchet here, and luckily they're 10 millimeters, so you get there. You can't see what I'm doing here. I've got the rear one in on the top one, so I'm cranking up the alternator in the right position so I can get the bottom one in, which is the front one, which is a bit of a pain. But I think I'm there. I'm not going to tighten them up. I have them loose, and now we put some grease on so it doesn't seize anymore, and we'll put it in. If you take a short extension, a long ratchet, you can actually just about clear the connector and the pipe, and then just tighten it up and job done. So, alternator is back. Need to put all the wires back, put the belts on, put everything back together, and we got new belts, by the way, and hopefully it works. So we got a brand new Gates 5PK890, that's the alternator, and I couldn't get a Gates as well, but that's a 5PK850, says Goodyear on it. So to fiddle that in, put it over the pulleys, and then after that put it over the tensioner. I'll show it in a second. So initially put it on the pulley, so make sure you can actually get away here, so it's just on top of the tensioner pulley. You can get there with your socket, and then you just wedge it over to the left. Make sure you're on the rear pulley and it's properly seated, because there's a double pulley. This one goes here. So let's do that. Don't know if I can film that. So you get your 250 in here, and then you take your socket, watch it, and I just wedge it down. There you go. And then you leave it loose. And everything is done. On the pulley. Everything is there. Double check if it's really on the pulley. Do the same on the alternator. Make sure everything is on the pulley. Yeah, good. So, next belt. That's easier because the pulley, the tensioner is down here. So, yeah, it's a pain, honestly. It could have been done better, but yeah. That's what it is. Okay, let me fiddle the other one on. It's the same story. Goes over here. And let me do that. it's actually better if you put it on a large pulley first, so on the crank pulley first, and then on the alternator pulley, because it's a longer way here. So I think it's generally easier. Just double checking if it's in the right place, because you can't really see it. Looks like being right. So, okay, new belt. The tension's got quite a bit of oomph. There is, yeah, you need to pull quite hard. Anyway, that's it. Let's get the cobwebs out here and all the crap. That's the power steering pump, by the way. Could do with some fluid. Not today, I don't care. Anyway, that's it. Job done. Let's put everything back together upstairs. And it's only the suction thingy here and air filter and things. So we're not going to film that because I think we did that before. Anyway, let's put it back together and then fire it up and see how it sounds. So before we put everything together, let's fire it up and see how it sounds, and everything is nice and smooth. 4 degrees. Alright. Looks like our idle sounds better now because the tension pulley is working as it should. Doing its job. Okay. Alright. Let's put the wheel on. Put that strap on first. That plastic shield. And then we're good to go. So yeah, I said before, we're not going to put that one in the car because I think it's suspect, but I'm going to show you how to take the pulley off, because in the car you can't really film it. It's impossible. You need to figure out what's in the center. So this is apparently the right one, but not for the outer diameter. So all you need to find is the right one for the center. Not this one. So it's either this one, that fits, and then this one. So, and then you just need a wrench, and I think that's 17 millimeters. Let me get the tools here. So we got it set up, and then you just try to get the pulley loose. Here it comes. So the pulley is loose. They're not super tight, because that's one of the reasons why there's a 3-volt clutch on it, because that's all. It's just screwed on, and it's a right hand thread, with most engines at least. And so you take it off. So then put the new one just back on. Same tools, just the other way around. Everything in there, it's not going to work. Make sure they're fully in, otherwise you're having some fun here. So, sorry, my hand was in the way. That's how it works. If you want to do it really good, put some Loctite on, but it feels much smoother. And then once you've finished, put the cap on. They usually come with a new cap, and everything is good to go. Okay, so we need to take that back off. because we obviously need that in the car. And not here. But it fits. And that's the most important one. It does fit. And again, they normally don't come loose because they only can turn clockwise, anti-clockwise. They just freewheel. Alright, that's it from this one. As said before, I'm not going to show it in the car because you can't see it. It's even hard to get there with the tools. So we'll show it when it's finished, but that should be it from this one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Until next time.